Okay, so let me say this. I'm all for an intertwine and where the storylines overlap. I'm all for that. But sometimes it can get to where it's a bit too much. And I think that's kind of what we might run into. But we're going to roll with it. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for The Oval. This is season 1, episode 3. And yes, there was a lot of intertwining of storylines. Um, it might actually end up being a bit more than I actually care for. But we're going to see. We rolling. We rolling. Ain't no thing. Okay, so we're going to start right where we were. Bobby has now been shot by old girl. And Donald is standing in the doorway. He ends up calling for the Secret Service. I'm laughing because Bobby's, after all of this creepiness that you exuded and all of this kind of carrying on, you over there groveling? You ain't over there groveling, is you, Bobby? I need a doctor. I'm dying. No, not the way you rolled up in their house. You rolled up in their house like you was with whatever was going to be there. Because see, when you roll up to somebody's house, you need to be lock loaded and ready for whatever. And that's how your stance was. You were just like this creepy stalkerish guy. But now you over there whining and crying. No, boo. And bleeding all over the good carpet. Foolishness. Anyway, so Donald calls for Secret Service. They show up, and he told them specifically, don't send Kyle. But he sent Kyle. And I'm like, what's going on with this Kyle situation? But okay. So Kyle says to him, are you okay, sir? And when he reached for him, Donald I said, wait a minute. So I'd already, my gator that went off. My gator that already went off. I'm like, Kyle, baby, you doing a whole lot. And you make Donald very nervous. So, and Donald's like the president's right-hand man. So to literally be making him nervous, you really must be on one. So I said, okay, we'll see. I told them not to bring you. And he's like, I know, but everything, I just want to take care of you. I want to take care of you. Let me look after you and your wife. I'm like, doing too much. Anyway, he ended up telling his wife, I'll know everything about him within 24 hours. So they took him out and they went back and forth. She's asking, well, where did they take him? You don't need to know that. Is he going to live? Is he going to be okay? You don't need to know that. Just that whole thing. And she's like nervous pervers. And then he kept asking her about her dress being torn. She's like, no, he didn't hurt me. He didn't harm me. He didn't touch me. And he's like, how'd your dress get torn? And none of us add that. Anyway, moving on. So we see the president. President gets on up out of the bed. And I hadn't paid him that much attention. Baby, the president got a body down. Body down. He went on down and got his little cranberry little silk pajamas, goes on down to the Oval. And here they've actually slid the mistress in there. Girlfriend's body is so banging. Bang, 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 bang. She's so banging. And she's in there and she's very much a dominatrix, okay? Very much paid to please and inflict pain. I said, okay, girlfriend, my kind of whore. Anyway, so then right through that, while that's going on in the meantime, between time, First Lady and first daughter have a run in. She's in there reading. And it's always a read session. I said, what mother talks to their daughter like that? Well, so she says, girl, you need to stay out this kitchen, honey. You're going to add to those stretch marks you have. And those 50-year-old bags under your eyes. Who says this to their, early 20s daughter? She hates her. I'm like, oh my gosh. She's like, when can I get at her? She's like, it's going to be sooner than you think if you keep it up. I'm like, child, you'll be doing her a favor, sending her away. Then she told her, you might want to check in the Oval. I believe I saw someone being checked in that you probably know. I said, oh, no, she didn't, honey. No, she didn't. So she sends her mother on over there. Baby mama gets there to the door and has the whole run-in with the Secret Service man on the outside of the door who has been told to watch the door. They had a whole bang up. Well, she had a fight. She's beating the hell out of him, and he ended up slamming her down a little bit on the floor, just a little bit. He just slammed her down a little bit. And she will say, you hurt me. I said, girl, simmer down. And she, she had a little tension with it, and we found out later on why she had that little tension. Because she was all, it was like there was like a sexual tension, and she's like sitting there, and she said, "You see how he embarrasses me, and he just treats me like shit, and just running whores all over. You hear me?" And he said, "The room is soundproof, ma'am." So she's standing there like this, and he says, he's looking at her. She said, "Are you going to help me up or not?" He said, "Are you going to hit me again?" So I guess he didn't want to help her up. They have to knock her ass back down. She's like, "No, I'm sorry about that." She lifts him up because he had taken she took this little vase and broke it. There was glass and shit everywhere. I said, okay. Remember that there was glass, honey. There was glass. So she gets up and she kept like, she's all in his face and told him, she was sorry, but, she was angry that she didn't get what she wanted. And I was like, girl, you want some of him? Because that's what it sounded like you want some of him. Anyway, in the meantime, back in the kitchen, the daughter then called her boyfriend on the phone. And we found out that the daughter's boyfriend is the butler's nephew. He's his nephew, okay? And Barry, which is the butler's son, remember he's out looking to try to find his daughter. He done ran to the cousin. The cousin's part of a gang. He leads a gang. He ended up getting a gun, which was this big corny thing. But he got this gun off of him, and he told him that gun got heat. You know what I mean? So don't use it. But what he actually did was he actually sent the cousin to the wrong address looking for these people. And then the nephew, he has no idea. Like, they don't know about the link up. That's why I said about this crisscross of the storylines. I was like, oh, jeez. Okay, how convenient. Then the nephew goes to the butler's house, and he has a conversation with the butler, and he tells him, your son got a gun for me. I sent him to the wrong address, but it's going to be only a matter of time. You need to fix it. But he referred to the butler as Preach, which leads me to believe that the butler, before he became the butler for the president, had a past life, and he was out in them streets, and he's about that life, or was at one point was about that life. But of course we know Barry's not. Barry's this little clean cut kid who can't act. So, and the nephew can't act either. He's cute, but he can't act. Anyway, so all that's going on. Meantime, somewhere in the basement of the White House or somewhere, probably in one of those bunkers, they have Bobby. And they're removing the bullets from him with no anesthesia. And we found out he's actually a military man. Okay? So that's what they're saying. They got him and they're working on him. And he's like, you're not going to get nothing out of him. He's ex-military. You're not going to get nothing out of him. And Kyle's down there. And Kyle's like, oh, I will. And that's what the guy was like, he's such a jerk. You know what I mean? So that Kyle is a character. Okay? He's like a whole terrorist is what I'm getting from Kyle. But anyway, so that's all going on down there. So the dad is out looking all night, out looking for Barry. The president's mistress, we find out after she get done doing her thing with him, her name is Denise, and she is a twin. So yes, in my comments, people were saying, did you see the same person twice last week? You didn't see the same person. You seen a set of twins. The mistress and Ruth are twins. Denise and Ruth are twins. So yes, you did see her twice. You saw her twice, but it wasn't the same person. One of them is Ruth from the cult, and the other one is Denise, the whore, sleeping with the president. I said, okay, come on with this intertwining of stories. Here we go. So then the president had this interesting little conversation, this little banter back and forth with his Secret Service man that was watching the door, and told him, if you would let my wife give you a blowjob, it would really help me out. And he told him about the little fight he had with her. He's like, Did you knock her? Did you knock her on her ass?" And he's like, "No, I mean it got a little rough, sir. I'm sorry." He's gonna say, "Nah." He's like, she likes all that type of aggression. He said, "Yeah, you should have knocked her on her ass, and I'm sure if you let her suck you off, that'd really help me out." I was like, "Oh my god." He's like, "No, sir." I'm like, "Listen, you done opened the door. If you think he ain't gonna get some of her at some point, you're crazy." But he don't care. He don't care anyway. So let's go back into the kitchen. Over at the kitchen, the first daughter had a run in with Priscilla, which is the main maid. We find out that Priscilla and the really cute young maid, that's Priscilla's niece. Okay, and she was kind of telling her about the position. Because we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that in a minute. Just hold on. Anyway, but so they had a little run in. She was so rude. She's calling Priscilla fat. She said, "I hope eating late at night like this don't make me fat like you are." Now, Priscilla's built to hell and back. She's built. She ain't a bit more fat. She gonna say, "You're stupid." She'll say, "You don't talk, girl?" Talking to Priscilla like that. So she just kept carrying on. She's like, "Cook me something to eat." And she was just so nasty. "I ain't asked you nothing. Just nasty." And she ended up switching it off and having her niece to cook something. She said, "You know what? Here, she wants something to eat. Make her something to eat because I'm going to poison this little bitch." I said, "Oh, okay. Interesting." So let's go upstairs in the White House. The First Lady, she laying in the bed. The president come back up there in full glow. He didn't just got them banging and screwing. He go to go take a shower. And she just being cool with it. She just looking at him like, yeah, whatever. They have a couple words back and forth. And he steps to the shower. She done took that glass and put it in the damn shower. He gets out. He's taking getting the glass out of his foot and whatever. And she come out there and she gonna say, "I hope you need stitches." I said, they are really like Mr. and Mrs. Smith. They really be giving each other the blues. He gonna tell her that his Secret Service man has become a pro at giving stitches. Dealing with her and him fighting all the damn time. I was like, oh my god. Anyway, so let's go over to Donald's house. Donald and his wife have a conversation back and forth, and he's like, I want to make you happy, blah, blah, blah. So it leads into something about them having kids. And she says, you got to have sex to have kids, right? And we don't have sex. And he's apologizing to her or whatever. And I'm like, okay. Then she says, she needs something to sleep. He said, let me go get it for her. She's like, no, I'll get it myself. She goes downstairs. And she has a little run-in with Kyle. Because Kyle done switched detail with another guy. And now he's over at Donald's house. And he's asking her about, Donald, is your husband asleep, ma'am? And she's like, no, or maybe, I don't know, whatever. And they get to going back and forth. Kyle gets to questioning her, and she told him, listen, I don't like your line of questioning, because he kept asking her, well, is there something that I should know? Because she was asking him questions about Bobby. And he said, is there something that I should know? Because none of this don't add up. And he basically, she said, are you interrogating me? Or whatever. So they had that whole little conversation. She's like, whatever. So she ends up going on back to bed. And she goes and she lays down. She says something about, Donald said, you were talking to somebody else. She's like, who? She said, I was talking to Kyle. He's like, what the hell is Kyle doing there? He's not supposed to be here. Somebody else is supposed to be on detail. He gets up, he goes downstairs. Now he talking to Kyle. She, at the top of the steps, listening around the corner, hanging onto the banister. Baby, and then there was this exchange between Donald and Kyle. Baby, them two then got down at some point. They done got down and you ain't having sex with Donald because Donald is a whole DL mess, honey. And Cal done obviously had a little taste, honey, and wants some more. I said, oh, pretty Donald, honey. I said, whatever it is you got, Donald, it's good, honey, because Cal can't let it go, honey. Give him Mariah Carey tease, even though I try. I can't let go, honey. Hit the high note, honey. I bet that Donald probably can, honey. Anyway, moving on. So there's something in the past, and girlfriend was eavesdropping. She ran over there and got back in the bed. I said, girl, you done found out your man is your whole sis, honey. But anyway, whatever. So let's go back to the White House. The young maid ends up having a run-in with the first son. So, I thought the first son was a little, how you doing? Which I still do. But I think he's just a freak in general. I just think he just wants some everything. But he was all on her, honey. And I was like, well, that's kind of cute. You know what I mean? Because he didn't come across totally creepy. He came across as very interested in her. And that's like a no-no. She's the maid. He asked her all about how she got the job and that kind of thing. And she was telling him, it's kind of this job. You would never see this job listed anywhere. My aunt brought me in. Somebody from the family brought her in. It's kind of like one of those types of things. It just goes through heredity, So that was that. So then he started asking her, well, where do you live? And she says, there's quarters on the grounds. He said, I want to see where you live. And she's like, I don't know about that. So, oh, you acting creepy now. And she's like, let me ask, and I'll see if I can be able to show you where that is and all of that. I was like, girl, don't show him. You're going to find yourself raped, honey. That's what's going to happen. But anyway, moving on. See, your sister lies about being raped, and I believe you do a little raping. So yeah, y'all a whole damn mess. Anyway, so then let's go back over to the butler's house, and you see the mother and the girlfriend having a talk, and the mother is consoling the girlfriend. First of all, she's still feeling all bad about what had went on. It's about 6 o'clock in the morning at this point. And the girlfriend, she said, I'm really trying to work with this here, but he's so consumed with the daughter and the baby mama and all of that. And I'm really tired. Like, I'm not getting what I need out of this relationship. And the mother's like, just hang on, just hang on. And she's like, I'm really trying, but it is just a bit much. It is a bit much. And I'm like, yeah, quite honestly, all the red flags for you to get on up out of there, because it's generally someone like her that will end up dead, that has nothing to do with nothing, with all this extra stuff going on, and you got a cult and you got a mad ass baby's mama. She'll end up dead and everybody else will still be living. That's like your cue to get out. But anyway, whatever. The mother then starts to explain to her about the home life of Ruth when she was younger. She said they've known each other since they were kids, and I used to always wonder why she never wanted to go home. Their father was abusive, but she didn't go into any details. But from the way it sounds like he was sexually and physically abusive too, which we now know is two girls. But anyway. She didn't go too far into it. Then the last thing we actually see is Barry and the father, and they're talking, and Dad's basically telling Barry, you ain't about that life. I know you got a gun, and I want it. Give me the gun. He's like, I don't know, Daddy, I don't want to do it. He's like, I understand you being upset to the point, and you trying to protect your daughter to the point that you want to kill somebody, but I'm not going to let you ruin your life because you're not about that life, and all of that. And him and the dad is tussling over the gun, and the gun goes off. And that was where it actually cut out at. Child of Oval. I'm following, but this kind of there were so many intertwines that I was like, you got to watch that. Because I'm sitting and I'm speaking as a writer. An intertwine is cool, but there's a certain way to do it. There's a certain swag that you got to have with it to do it and do it well. I don't know if Tyler has that. And I ain't trying to read. I love Tyler dearly, but I ain't trying to read. I don't know that Tyler has the swag to be able to pull that off without it coming across corny. See, Ryan Murphy, that does American Horror Story, him and his team, they have that swag where they're 9 seasons in on AHS, and every season swaps and goes into other seasons, and it's done with such a je ne sais quoi that you can't even touch it. Tyler ain't got that. So I'm just afraid that the intertwining might start to come across corny. I'm going to leave it alone. I don't want to say too much. Anyway, all right, y'all. I'm going to catch y'all next week. We're getting down with the Oval. That's 3 episodes now. Come on now.